building a budget pedal board for worship music, pretty much impossible. If you're an electric guitar player and you want to build a pedal board piecemeal that's going to get all the sounds that you might want to use for church music in the modern era, it's going to be really expensive. So here's 5 reasons why the Line 6 HX Stomp is actually the perfect starter rig for praise and worship music. And you don't ever need more than an HX Stomp. And if you stay to the end, I'll show you a bonus, one cheap accessory that unlocks the full power of the HX Stomp. Reason number 1, it has all the things. You want amps? It's got amps. For the purposes of worship guitar, it effectively has all the amps. It's the same for cabinets, drive pedals, compressors, EQs, modulations, you name it, it's there. If there's a specific reverb effect that you want, but you don't really see in the list of reverb models, you can create that reverb effect by pulling your reverb down into the B path and then just applying effects to the wet signal. Credit John Nathan Cordy for putting that trick on my radar. But in addition to all the stuff you would get from your expensive piecemeal pedal board, you also get a gate in the front of the signal and a control output block on the end. A gate is an effect that monitors the input signal and cuts it when it dips below a certain threshold. It's a great way to cut your signal when you're not playing or between notes, so nobody's got to listen to noise. The output control is a block in the signal chain, but there's also a handy little master control knob that you can use to send more or less signal to wherever your signal is being sent. That knob can actually be disabled too, or you can even run unity gain out to front house and then send a separate signal using the effects loop that is controlled by your master volume knob to your monitor or an amp or whatever you're using to listen to yourself on the stage. But let's address the elephant in the room. There's no expression pedal built into the HX Stomp. So those swells, the whale sounds that we love in church, this is a deal breaker, right? We have to have the whale sounds. Well, you can actually plug an expression pedal into the Stomp, but I don't. What I do instead, you can actually use one of the delay effects in the Stomp to make an auto swell, so you can get the whale sounds without having an expression pedal. The second reason why the HX Stomp is the perfect worship guitar rig. You don't have to press 5 foot switches at transitions. Have you ever tried to do that? I don't know about you, but for me, from a verse to a chorus could be the difference between a different reverb, overdrive, amp settings. It could be different lots of things. I'm not gonna sit there and dance around on my pedal board, but on the HX Stomp, there's a bunch of different ways that you can control everything all at once. For instance, there's customizable foot switches, and each of those foot switches can control bypass for blocks, parameters within the blocks. So I could have a foot switch that has my amp gain at 5 when it's off, cranks it to 10 when it's on. And I could have the same foot switch control lots of those parameters, or a mix of parameters and bypasses on pedals. Snapshots is an even better way to control everything all at once. A picture of all the settings that you can change within a preset. So for each parameter that you set to snapshot control, you can tailor it wherever you want, and then when you go to the next snapshot, it'll go back to where it was, or wherever you had it for that other snapshot. There are 3 snapshots on every preset in the HX Stomp. I have not found a modern church worship song where I wasn't able to get all the sounds I needed from 3 snapshots. I love snapshot mode, so if you want me to go in depth on that, comment below, and I will do it. The other thing about these snapshots and the foot switches is the labels. I actually use the labels on the snapshots to remind me what parts are in that song. So going on a higher level than snapshots, there are presets, and you can have up to 125 presets on your HX Stomp unit saved, ready to go. Each preset can have different blocks, different amps, different cabinets, different settings, different everything. They're each a separate signal chain. So imagine you had a separate pedal board for each song. That's how I run the HX Stomp when I do church music. Sometimes you want to sound like a Bethel, a Hillsong. In Elevation, you can arrange them in a playlist and just hit next when you go to the next song. Or you can go to snapshot view and you can see them all and use your foot switches to select them. Jump around as needed to whatever song. And don't underestimate the fact that you can have them all saved on your unit, always ready. Because you know your worship leader is going to say, hey, you know, we've got an hour before service, so why don't we cut this song and add this other song? No problem, Pastor. Let me just pull it up in my little bank here. The third reason why the HX Stomp is the best starter rig for praise and worship music is because pretty much everything on your unit can be saved, backed up, and shared. Your favorites, that's when you take your settings on a block, that reverb that you dialed in just right, you can save that as a favorite and recall it whenever you want. Save it to computer, email it to a friend. Same thing with your presets. Your friend has to do a song next week, you've dialed in the tone already, you could send them your patch and save them hours and hours of work dialing in tones from scratch again. You can even take your entire bank of presets, the whole thing, all 125 of them, and save them as a set list on your computer. Think about what this means for your church. You could just have one HX Stomp that everyone can use, and whoever is playing electric guitar on the team that week can just plug it into the computer, load their settings, and they're ready to go. But even better than all that is third-party presets. Electric guitar players in churches are almost always volunteers. We have day jobs. There's only so much time we can devote to this. And it's hard enough just to memorize all these parts. It can be a lot of information. So how would you like to just spend a couple dollars for some brother in the Lord on the internet to send you his patch that he already set up for this song? I frequently get patches from worship tutorials if I want to save some time or if I'm stuck. And working with presets that are designed by competent third parties actually is going to give you an intuition for how these effects work and how to dial them in for yourself. I bought a bundle pack from a YouTuber called Guitar for His Glory. I've built all my sounds off of the foundation of where he started me off. And I know what these effects do because I saw what he did there for this sound, what he did there for that sound, what he did here for this other sound. And this next thing should really be its own reason. There is an extensive community of support for all the HX products. The Helix, the Stomp, the HX effects, so many people are using these things, and there's an entire cottage industry of patches and support for them that if you ever need to do anything that you don't know how to do, you just Google it or YouTube it, and 10 nerds are gonna be lined up to show you how to do it, and maybe even just hand deliver you a solution. The fourth reason why the HX Stomp is still the best option for someone who wants to play their electric guitar for church. Headphone output and computer audio interface. This is huge. If you think this doesn't matter, you're wrong. I use my Stomp to play at the coffee shop. I sit it right there on the table with my headphones. It's small enough. I use it to play in the office in the back so that my wife and daughters don't have to listen to me shred. And I use it to make recordings. I can even use it in reverse to get practice track audio from my computer through my Stomp to my PA speaker when I do want my wife and daughters to hear me shred. The fifth reason why the HX Stomp is the best praise and worship rig. It's so easy and natural to use. It has the perfect interface. Whether you're turning knobby knobs or if you're using the editor application that you can download for Mac or Windows. You don't need to read anything to use this. Both of these interfaces are intuitive out of the box. You'll know what to do just from looking at it. And it really helps you get an intuition for signal chains because you can see the blocks in order and how they interact with each other. So now let's quickly walk through how easy it is to build a signal chain with the HX Stomp. But first, here's your bonus. The one cheap accessory that unlocks the full power of your HX Stomp. It doesn't actually matter what brand it is. Mine is a rock stock dual foot switch. It's a thing with 2 foot switches in it, and they're momentary. They're not latching. You also get a TRS cable for it. I got this little short one for less than 10 bucks. It plugs right into the Expression 1 and 2 jack right there. I run it just like that. You see, the only problem with the HX Stomp is that you can't see snapshot mode and foot switch mode without pressing a button with your finger. I like to live on snapshot mode, but that means I can't see my tuner unless I bend down and press this little button. Enter the dual foot switch. It unlocks foot switches 4 and 5, which are built into the software already. And the way I run it, foot switch 5 is on the bottom, and it cycles through snapshot mode, stomp box mode, preset mode. That way you can get to everything you need to get to without bending down. And since I have foot switch 4 available as well, I set that to bypass or engage my auto swell. So anytime the worship leader wants to pray or stop or have a Selah, I'm ready to make the whale sounds. This only costs $30 plus whatever you pay for the TRS cable. There's a link in the description below if you want to check out the one I have. There's also a link for the HX Stomp if you want to check it out. Clicking those links does help the channel, even if you don't buy that product. So thank you. So let's build out a patch together from scratch in the next free video. Click here.